Hello again, Math 24 students, and here's part 2 of getting started in Canvas, where I'm going to go into a little more detail on the different buttons and the things that you need to do to get started. So here we are at the home page for Math 24. And I want to point out some of the things that are on this page, resources for you. There's a link to my YouTube channel. So I have a YouTube channel where all the videos that I've made for the class, there are 50 videos for the textbook topics, and they're all there in the YouTube channel, but I also will include links and embed them in the modules as you go along. So you don't have to go to the YouTube channel, but if you prefer doing that, here's the link to that. Then this Zoom videos document, there's nothing on it yet because we haven't started doing any Zoom sessions. But once we do, I will put here the date of the Zoom and which quick quiz we worked on and a link to the recording for that Zoom session. So those will be available, and I put that link right at the top to make it easy for you to find. So I want to make sure we're in the right class. So know that this class includes calculus and it transfers only to Sac State. So make sure you're in the right spot. Then you can scroll down for links to the weekly modules. So you can see here's module 0 getting started and the week 1 module. And each week I will put the current week's module button at the top of the list so that it was the first one that you come to. And you can use this way of getting into the weekly module if you like. The other way to do it I'll show you will be using the modules button. So there's often more than one way to get places in Canvas. So I'm your instructor. My name's Debbie Hill. I don't mind if you call me Debbie, Mrs. Hill, Professor Debbie, Professor Hill, whatever is the most comfortable form of address for you. Here's my Google Voice number. You can call or text anytime. I also have set up the Remind Text app, and that's so if you don't want to share your phone number, you can use the Remind Text app. If you use the Google Voice number, your phone number shows up. It's just like making a cell phone call. If you use the Remind Text app, the app confidentially stores your data and only sends me the message. So I never see your phone number. So this is a way that we can communicate easily. I use the Remind app to send invitations to the Zoom meetings because it's a really easy way for me to text the whole class at once. So then we have a link here to the syllabus. I'm not going to click it and go there yet because I will make a separate video for the syllabus to just go through the syllabus. Then once I get that video made, then I'll put the link to it here. So please come to the Zoom class meetings. I've scheduled them at a time that I hope will be convenient for you. So Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6:30 to 7:30, except for the Veterans Day and Thanksgiving holidays. So we will have Zoom meetings Tuesdays and Thursdays. Please come to as many as you can. I won't record the group portion of the Zoom meetings. That didn't make sense, so I'll rewrite this. But there's a part where I let you work in small groups. That part won't be recorded, but the part where everybody's together and I go through the quick quiz, that part will be recorded. So the recorded lectures for every section are posted on my YouTube channel, and you're welcome to subscribe if you want to receive notifications when I make new videos, because anytime somebody asks, I'm happy to make another video for them. So just let me know if it would help to see problem number 24 in section 7.3 worked out, and I'd be happy to do that for you. Student hours are what we used to call office hours. Every Wednesday from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m. I'll have a Zoom room open. You can pop by and just ask one question. You can stay for half an hour if there's nobody else waiting. I'd really love to meet you. And what I plan to do is set up a Math 24 breakout room. So if Math 24 students just want to come and work together in the breakout room with me available, then that is an opportunity for you to do that. So please make use of that. I'm hoping it will be at a time that's one that works for you. So I will be cheering for you the whole semester, and you can count on me to do whatever I can to help you finish the class successfully. It's a rigorous class. It's challenging for most students. I really want you to be successful. So I've worked and redesigned the course, and I think it's going to be better than it ever has been, so I'm hoping you have a really good experience. So let's look at the Module 0, Getting Started. And you'll see that's the first module in the list. And then let me show you that the modules button now is underlined because you can get to this same place by just clicking the modules button. But once we get to say week 2, if you use the modules button, then you'll have to scroll down through module 0 and week 1 until you get to week 2. Whereas if you use the button on the home page, it will take you straight to the current week's module. So this is module 0, and I'm doing something new this semester, and I'm actually giving you quite a bit of credit toward your grade, 5% of your grade, for doing all these getting started activities. So there's points associated with them to encourage you to do the things that I know will help you be successful in the class. So I want you to read the syllabus. So it says, click read the syllabus to begin. So here's where I want you to start. Read the syllabus. So I want you to go through the syllabus carefully, and then I want you to tell me one thing about the course design that was different than you expected. Whatever you read in the syllabus that surprised you maybe. So there'll be a text entry box, and I'll show you that by going to the student view. And you click Start Assignment. Then you click whatever in here was surprising. And then you submit your assignment, and then mark it as done. And then I'll be able to see that in the module, and you need to do that mark as done in order to be able to move to the week 1 module. You have to finish all the things in the Getting Started module. So then we're going to use the next button, and it will just take you through all the activities. So let me go back to the modules button and show you that here the topics are all listed vertically. If you just use the next button, it will take you from one assignment to the next seamlessly, and you don't have to keep going back to the modules. So sometimes it takes a moment for the next button to pop up. So wait for it. There it is. So the syllabus treasure hunt is really a syllabus quiz. I just thought that sounded way more fun. So it's going to ask you specific things about the syllabus. You're welcome to have your syllabus available to help you answer the questions. You do have to get 100% on it. So you can keep doing it until you do get 100%, and then you can move on. The next thing is a getting to know you survey. So I'd really appreciate you sharing anything that will help me help you. And I have index cards with your names on them, and I take notes so that if you share something with me, if something I need to do or not do that will be helpful for you, I can keep track of that. And so I don't keep asking you the same questions over and over again, hopefully. I do get to know all of my students' names. It's way harder in the online environment, but it's still always my goal. The recommended workflow documents are something I created because I've been teaching online a long time, and I find that one of the hard things at first is figuring out a work pattern that works for you. So this is just a recommended workflow. Use it however it's helpful for you, but I wanted to lay it out for you in a weekly calendar so you could see the first week you need to have a textbook available. You can respond to the discussion board on Monday or Tuesday, and it's due on Wednesday, but why wait till Wednesday? And then you can do your responses to your classmates Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then it's due on Sunday. But I would beg you not to wait till things are due to start working on them. It just really doesn't work very well, particularly in the online environment. Things just pile up until they seem overwhelming. So this is for week 1 because week 1's a little different. There's not a quick quiz due on Monday on week 1, and there's no Shine quiz. So I made a separate document for week 1, and then for all the rest of the weeks there's a different document because the rest of the weeks are all the same as far as what you need to do which day. So feel free to print that out. I would print it out and put it in the front of my binder, and even if that schedule doesn't work for you, make something like that for yourself that does work for you. And here is sign up for the Remind Text app. You don't have to sign up for it, but I do want you to respond and either say done or opt out. Either one's fine, but I need to have some way of giving you points. So that's how we're going to do it. And then similarly for the Sierra College app, either tell me done or opt out. This app is really helpful. I hear students all the time asking each other, don't you have the Sierra College app? Oh, it's really great. Then the next one that I recommend is the Canvas Student app. And students tell me it's so much easier to scan their written work and submit it on the Canvas Student app than it is to try and do it any other kind of way. So you're going to do a lot of handwritten work, scan it, and submit it in Canvas. So then I want you to update your Canvas profile. So come over here to the circle that says Account. And when you click on it, it will open this little window. And the first thing you'll see is notifications. So in the student view, apparently I can't access that. So you will be able to because you're not test student. So let me come out of the student view so I can show you this. So notifications, there's all kinds of things that Canvas will send you notifications about. Due dates, when your grade changes, when you submit something, when somebody posts on your discussion board, and you can decide, do you want to get that as soon as it happens, once a day, once a week? It's totally up to you, but do make sure and go through and look at these and make sure you have them set up so that they work for you. And then you have settings. And the settings is where you go to put something in this little circle. So as long as it's G-rated, I don't care what you put in the little circle. You can put a picture of your dog. You can put a pattern, anything you like that tells us something about you. So it helps us to get to know you, even if it's just a pattern. I find then I associate that pattern with the conversations I have with that person and get to know them better. So please take the time to do that. And then we're going to go back and back. So we're back in the module. So you can use your browser back button. That will take you back to the previous page you were on. Or you can go back and forth in Canvas. You can go to the previous and it will show you the previous thing was get the Canvas Student app. Or you can go on to the next thing and it says set up a math notebook or binder. So I don't really care what sort of a note-taking setup you have, but I really, really want you to have some kind of note-taking system. I recommend a 3-ring binder so that it can grow with your volume of paper, because students tell me this class just takes a lot of paper. So a 3-ring binder is easier to put more and more paper in. If you use a spiral bound notebook, then chances are you'll have more than one notebook and then it gets harder to keep track of them. So in the front of the binder, I would print out all the important papers that I'm giving you access to, the syllabus, schedule, suggested workflow, the homework assignment sheet, and then I would have dividers. And the guided notes that I want you to buy at the bookstore, that's what I would put first. And I'd probably put Post-it flags on each of the sections. I believe there's 17 sections that we do in the textbook. Then I'd label each page in the homework section with the name and the title of the section I'm working on so that it's useful later if I want to go back and study section 11.1, I can easily find that homework. Then I'd label my work for the quick quizzes with the quiz number and clearly number each problem, because you'll have an opportunity to correct those and resubmit them. And so if you have them organized and easy to find, that makes it much easier to correct and resubmit them to get more credit. And same thing with the Shine quizzes. Then I would have a section where I collect important notes that I get from the videos that maybe there's not a place on the guided notes to put them, or I want them all in one place together instead of sprinkled throughout the guided notes. And then I usually have a formula sheet at the back of my notebook where I put any formulas that I find myself using, so they're all in one place and easy to find. So when you have your notebook set up, label it on the front, Math 24, Modern Business Math, and take a picture of that and submit it. And you could also make a brief video if you would rather. So the last thing I believe in the module is the textbook homework. So the textbook homework is only worth about 5% of your grade because the answers to all of the problems, I give you the solutions. They're in the textbook. They're online, numerous places. So I can't give you a lot of credit for doing the homework because you can just go copy all the answers from lots of places. But I do want to encourage you to do some of it and learn from that. But I'm giving a lot more credit to the quizzes so that I can ask you what I want you to answer. The textbook often just has really, really basic problems, so they're good for practice. A couple of notes about homework. You have to show all the work. If you just write an answer, that doesn't work for me. Homework needs to be done with pencil on your own paper, and then you're going to scan that and turn it into a single PDF. Graphs have to be on graph paper if you want them graded. If you have an iPhone, there's a Notes app on the phone that scans. If you have an Android phone, you need to get a free scanner app or have a scanner available. There's Adobe Scan, Microsoft Office Lens, and Genius Scan that students have told me about. They're all free and easy to use, and you can check YouTube for videos showing how to use them. So make sure you know how to combine several pages of scanned work into a single PDF document. Usually as you're scanning, there's a button where it says add another page. So rename your scans. Often the scanning app names them really strange names, just a collection of characters. So you might want to name it Quick Quiz 2 so you can find it again if you need it. And when you take a scanned document and put it in Canvas, please look and make sure you submitted what you intended. So sometimes people put the wrong quiz in the wrong spot and then they just have to go back and redo it again. So homework will be graded on just two things, completeness and presentation. So if it's all done, 2 points. Anything less than done, 1 point. So I'd rather it be late and completely done than turned in early and not complete. So you get full credit if you turn it in late. So that would be my preference. So please put your name and section number at the top of each page, number the problems clearly. Work in an organized way. If you work vertically, that works so much better than if you work horizontally. I'm grading on an iPad and I have a pretty small screen. So if you scan a full page and a full scan, that works the best and is the easiest for me to find my way through your work. Homework can be turned in for full credit on the due date. It can be turned in after that. If it's way after, you might have to ask me to reopen the assignment, but I'm happy to do that. No explanation needed. So here are the due dates for all the homework assignments. You'll see the section numbers, and we're actually starting on section 7.1, but it needs algebra for section 2.4. So I've put the section 2.4 homework due before 7.1 so that you can go back and review the algebra that you need in order to do section 7.1. Then sections 1.3, 3.1, and 3.6, again, are algebra review that we need for doing section 11.1. So those review homework assignments are due before the section 11.1 homework. Then 3.3 and 2.2 are algebra review needed for 11.4. And you can see the pattern there. 3.5 is prerequisite material for 11.5. Then chapter 4 is all prerequisite to section 11.8. And then the way I've organized the class, the first thing we're going to do is chapter 7. That's linear programming, really, really practical and based on algebra only. And then chapter 11 and 12, those are the calculus chapters. That's about 70% of the class. And then we'll finish that by December so that the last couple weeks of the course, we'll be doing chapter 5, which is the mathematics of finance with no calculus. Because we're all getting tired by the end of the semester, and most students tell me Chapter 5 is so much easier than what we've been doing with the calculus. So I've given a lot of thought to how to organize the material in a way that will work well for you. So now we're into the week 1 module. So let me go back to modules and show you. Here was module 0. Once you finish module 0, you can use this triangle, and if you click it, it accordions the menu up and hides it so that it's not in your way as you're scrolling. You don't have to scroll as far. And so once you've finished module 0, you can close it up like this, and so you can get to week 1 quicker. So you can see that it says prerequisite module 0 getting started. So you need to finish module 0 before you will be able to get to the week 1 module. So the 3 things in the week 1 module that are due, so every week I'll put this at the top. Quick quiz, discussion board, and journal. Those are your Canvas assignments that are due for the week. Then the textbook homework, if you want to get started early, I have put it here so that you have it available, but it will also be in the week that is due, so you'll see it more than one time in there. So here is how I hope you'll work your way through the course. Here is the course pack notes. If you didn't buy the course pack, I have them available here. You will need to fill them in and scan them and submit them. That will be part of your grade. So then these are the 4 videos, each about 15 minutes long, that give you what you need to fill in the course pack notes. They're called guided notes. I go through in the video, I go through those notes and tell you everything that goes in every spot in the notes, and we fill them in together on the video. So that's what I would hope you would do, is use the guided notes, use these videos to fill them in, and then try and do the work for the class. If you like PowerPoints, there are PowerPoints from the textbook publisher, so I've made them available for you. I try and make as many things as I can find that are resources available to you. Then in this first module, I know some people might not have a book yet, so these pages are the homework problems from section 7.1. They're page 339, 340, and 341 of the textbook. I can't keep doing that because it's a copyrighted work and I can't just keep copying their pages out of it, but they're okay with me just doing these 3 pages to help you get started if you don't have a book yet. So please don't wait till you have a book to get started. Between the guided notes and these homework problem pages, you can get started working on the homework even if you don't actually have the textbook yet. So week 2 will have a shine quiz, but you'll see that the layout is similar, of where I'll tell you the Canvas assignments for the week. You'll see all the quizzes. There'll be 2 quick quizzes and a shine quiz each week, discussion board, and journal. So that's the structure of the course, so that every week it's the same, except for when there's holidays. So you'll see the holidays on the calendar. So speaking of the calendar, let me go back to the home page and show you that on the calendar, you have this view calendar button on your home page also. And you can see the calendar, and I have made this class blue. Remember at the beginning I made the tile blue, so everything for this course is blue. So I can see that, oh, on Thursday the 26th, Quick Quiz 1 is due. And so I find this really helpful to be able to see the whole month. And then to progress, I can use this right arrow to get to September and see all the assignments that are due in September. So hopefully that will be helpful for you for planning out your work. All of your courses should be here, and you can turn the calendars on and off. So I can turn off Math 24 and turn on Math 12 if I want to see that instead. And you can also send the calendar to your Google Calendar, so you can have everything on one calendar if you'd like. So please let me know if there's anything at all I can do to help you. And I really encourage you to get started before the semester begins. Especially if you're taking more than one class, there will be a lot to just getting organized and getting ready to do work. So best wishes for success. Let's get started.